This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
Welcome to today's Talk Business and Politics. I'm Roby Brock. We're glad to have you with us. In March, Little Rock-based Capital Bank announced a new leadership team and plans to change its name to Encore Bank. Here to join me is Burt Hicks. He is a new Director, Senior Executive, Vice President, Chief Operating Officer, and General Counsel for the bank and the bank holding company. Where do you hang all the hats that you wear in your office?
Well, first of all, thanks for having us, Roby.
You bet.
We're a small team. We're all wearing multiple hats. So you listed off a lot of things, but really that just means I do a little bit of everything for the bank and for the team. So
what was the impetus for this? How did this opportunity kind of present itself for you guys?
Well, honestly, there's been no secret. There's been a lot of acquisition activity across the state. And so, I think that as banks have rolled up other banks, there's been a real need in the marketplace for kind of that old community banking model, although we think we're going to do things a little differently, but we feel like there's an opportunity both in recruiting a team and also just in the customers that are out there. They've grown tired of that kind of bigger bank feel. So we feel like there's an opportunity, and that's really where we're trying to capitalize.
Tell me who else is on the leadership team here. There was a couple of you that were announced in the big leadership change. You may have added some more since then that I'm not aware of, but tell me who else is on the team right now.
Well, our 23rd and 24th employees actually started this week. So
you don't have to name all of them. Just
the other executive management members are Chris Roberts, who's our chairman and CEO, and Philip Jett, who's our president and vice chairman.
You guys have been raising capital. Give me a progress report and tell me why it has been important for you guys to do that.
Yeah, so early March we launched a $50 million capital raise. I'd hesitate to give you numbers of where we are, but we're very pleased.
It's a moving target.
Right,
so,
yeah. We're very pleased with the progress we've had. Our minimum investment size is $25,000. Our maximum is $3 million. So we've had folks come in across the range. We're really pleased with where that is. The need for capital, as you know, in banking, the legal lending limit is a function of your capital size, and also just your Tier 1 capital ratio ultimately drives how large you can grow. And so by raising $50 million in capital, we've really given ourselves a pretty lengthy runway to grow.
Is $50 million the goal?
$50 million is the goal for this raise, yes,
and
sir.
You think you'll exceed it?
I think we'll meet it.
Okay.
We can't exceed it, but I think we'll meet it.
Tell me why Encore Bank? Why that name change from Capital Bank to Encore Bank? Why was that important for you guys? Because you got the the clearance from the state banking department this past week on that.
Right. Yeah. So Encore for us just means it's truly our as we're calling it, our last performance. We're here for the long haul. We're trying to really do this thing from the ground up, and so for us it was important to kind of put our own name on it, and not that Capital Bank had any tarnished name in the marketplace. We just felt like we wanted to do something that we could call our own, and Encore actually came from a consultant of ours as we were putting this thing together and said, hey, what you guys are describing, this is your last performance. This needs to be Encore Bank, and so that's where it came from.
What's the, I guess it's too soon to say what the end game is, but I mean, kind of where's the direction that you guys want to grow? Is this, you talked about this community bank feel that you feel like there's a niche in the market there for something like that. Eventually you get big enough and a bigger bank's going to buy you out. Seems to be the trend of what we see here. So where's the growth spot for you guys? Yeah,
so we have already identified some markets that we want to be in, and we're raising capital today in those markets. And so we know kind of 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 markets that we want to be in over time.
Is that something that you can reveal?
Sure, yeah, we've been out talking about it. So we obviously know we want to be in Central Arkansas, in Northeast Arkansas, primarily Jonesboro area. Northwest Arkansas, we're talking about maybe starting in Rogers. And then regionally, we think we want to be in Dallas and Nashville.
Okay.
And so as we go out and raise capital in those markets, that's really how we'll build the bank around those investors. But we also think about how large we can be in each of those markets. We're not trying to take on and be $1 billion bank in Dallas. We want to be a couple $100 million in Dallas. So again, around that investor base and the team that we can recruit. So we'll try to target those 4 or 5 markets, and that's kind of our plan today, is to start with the capital raise and build that army of investors around specific markets End game, it's hard to say. I mean, for us, we don't have any plans. We're not saying, hey, we're selling in 5
It's your
years.
Encore performance.
Right? Yeah.
So.
There's a lot of different ways this could pivot, and we're excited to see kind of how it transfolds.
Let me put another hat on your head here, just banker in general, economist in general here. When you look at some things happening in the market right now impacting banks, the Feds seem to be sitting pat on interest rates. I think the president wants them to do some interest rate cuts. You've got inflation fairly in check. The economy doing pretty decent, although I think there's some predictions that there might be a global slowdown. I don't know how much that would affect us here. What's your sense of where the economy is right now, and what are you seeing out there in the lending game?
Yeah, so actually rates kind of, the rate hikes, if you will, slowing down is actually a great thing for us because we're able to kind of book loans at current market rates instead of getting way out in front and having to try to grab loans that were booked at 2 or 3% under where we are today. From the economy standpoint, it's been a long growth, but if you actually look at the actual growth numbers that have happened since the Great Recession, the numbers are still fairly muted from an overall standpoint. So we think there's still some runway. But there will be a recession along the way at some point, and we're aware of that. Really the way we're trying to build the loan portfolio is in a pretty diversified way, not just from a credit standpoint of the type of asset, but also geographically. We just talked about some markets. And also we will know who we're banking because ultimately we hope to bank our shareholders. These are folks that we know and trust and have grown along with us. And so we feel like we'll have a loan portfolio that's built around some pretty high quality assets. But no doubt, at some point along the way, that the economy will slow down. Obviously, China and the U.S. are in the middle of a trade negotiations, and we'll see where that takes us. But at the end of the day, the markets that we're in tend to be fairly stable. They don't have the ups and downs that some of the other markets across the country have, and so we're excited to get to play in some of those markets.
All right. I've been watching your career for many years now. It's always fun to see what you got up to. Burt Hicks, thank you so much.
Thank you, Roby.
Encore Bank.
Thank you, Roby.
All right. Thank you. That is all for today's program. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Roby Brock. We'll see you next time.
You'll find us at the end of a lot of long country roads, covering over 60% of the great state of Arkansas. Our 17 electric distribution cooperatives are working day and night to provide reliable, affordable power to over 500,000 homes, farms, and businesses, just like yours. The Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas, your local energy partners.
Each day, the promise of our nation begins again. Arkansas and America, moving forward. I help make that promise a reality. It's not for everyone, but people everywhere depend on us.
Oh, I love you too, sweetie.
Trucking delivers, or everything stops. And that's what drives me.